Hi everyone, my name is Amandine Flachs and welcome back for another episode of Entrepreneurs Playing Games. Today I am joined by Jacobo, who is a founder at Decology. So I know I promoted a bit that Shannon would also be here, but she had a last minute thing, so that's fine. We are all definitely going to make it happen together, and that's going to be a very cool interview today. So we are live right now on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch, and Periscope. Did I miss anything? I'm not sure. So please, whatever the platform you're using, jump on the discussion, let us know what you're working on, where you're based. Maybe you're not here in London like us or in the UK, so let us know also what you think about what we're talking about. And if you have any question for Jacobo, shoot it. Yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on the chat and ask him as soon as you post your questions. So feel free to ask us anything. So, Jacobo, I'm really happy to have you here today.
Happy to be here.
Do you know a bit about the agenda and the topic of the channel?
Of course.
Yeah, you had a look?
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun.
Good. So, for everyone, just to remind you, so we're going to first talk a bit about Decology and what you're working on. Then we'll play some video games. So it's going to be really chill out video game. It's a Tetris-like game, so doesn't sound like much. But it is actually extremely fun to play. I spent a few evenings on it, so
really?
Yeah, and I don't really like Tetris, so it's quite nice. And after that, we'll get back to your journey, startup, and also, I think, do quite a deep dive into what you're building right now.
Okay.
So I think that sounds quite interesting, and I can't wait to hear more. I had some kind of snapshot when we chatted on the phone the other day, and I have lots of questions. But once again, your question go first. So if I don't have the time to ask all my questions, that's fine. But please feel free to ask yours. So, Jacobo, let's get started.
Awesome, yeah.
Let's just directly dive into the topic. Tell me, what is Decology about?
So Decology, if you remember playing The Sims, when you would build a house, basically, for your little Sims to live in, it's basically that for real life. So basically, we allow people to create their own room in a very simple canvas where they give us the measurements, and that turns it into a 3D model. And then we help people basically visualize the products that they want to put in, the decorations that they want to make in their rooms through that 3D model. And then that's assisted with augmented reality and a few other things. To basically solve the main problem that we feel that the industry is going through, which is visualization. So basically, there's a huge amount of returns that the industry has to suffer through, mainly because it's such big ticket items. So if you have to return this sofa, it's such a hassle for the retailers.
Yeah, I have no idea how we'll do that. Anyway.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly. So a few of the issues are the fact that I couldn't visualize it in my place before time, before the time that I bought it and got it delivered.
Yeah.
And so once I see it, I don't like it so much, I have to return it. Different things like that that we're trying to solve. So the way that we do it is letting people visualize it.
Makes sense. And I guess it might be so much easier also to organize your space. Sometimes you buy too many furnitures and it just doesn't fit at all.
Exactly. So it's very interesting because we've been using technology that is very exact. So the way that you create your room is with exact measurements. And then each model is obviously based on the real life model. And the AR also, when you put it in AR in your actual room, that's also real size. So it's really interesting. It allows you to measure whether or not it's going to fit at all.
So you have a better idea before making the purchase.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. And what about your story? So Shannon isn't here today, but well, it's always interesting to hear how everything started.
Yeah, of course. So I had to move away from that part of the world. It was part of the world where I'm from. Decided to come to London with my wife, and one of the first people that I met with was Shannon. I already knew her before because her brother was one of my best friends.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And I remember when we met, Decology was a completely different thing. And I remember thinking, okay, so the idea needs some work to sort of like fit into my mind, into what I regard like a viable idea. But I remember thinking Shannon is great. she's an entrepreneur that's gonna make it no matter what. So I said, okay, let's be in touch. Let's see how this idea evolves, and we'll see what happens. So we met throughout the best part of a year, and I helped her with different things until at some point I saw the idea come full circle. And that was at the point where we said, okay, so everybody in the industry is charging the consumer for this type of tools, and the reason is because they need a lot of people to basically create the 3D model, put it in the cloud, and then it's a whole mess, right? But then we figured, okay, let's find a way so that we can create a room automatically and then make it free for the consumer. And I remember very clearly at that point I said, okay, so this is very sustainable because this is something nobody's doing. So we went out, we found a way, actually the team found a way to make the rooms procedural, and we were able to make it free for the consumer. That was a big thing. I decided to go in with Decology, and then the rest is history.
Yeah,
we're still making that history.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
It's very interesting because I get the same feeling sometimes when I feel that someone is working on something. It's not just about the idea, but it's about the person, and that they are really going to make it happen, whatever they're going to do. For sure, they will pivot, they will change a few things, but you really want to be part of the journey in some ways, and that's an amazing feeling to be just able to help them just reach the next step in some ways.
Yeah.
No, that's really cool. And before we play video games, I'd like to ask you why you feel that right now is the right time for retailers. You mentioned that they have been experimenting with the technology, but they they needed to have a team internally to really help them create a lot of things, and they didn't necessarily have to model right. So why do you feel that right now is a good time for you to approach retailers and to launch this?
That's a great question. I actually don't think that right now is the right time. I think we're actually kind of late already. Okay. I think that this is an industry that has been lagging quite a bit in terms of going online. Property tech in general is very resistant to technology. And I think that because of that, there's such huge lack of interesting solutions for them to solve these problems. For me, it's very clear. The problem is there. The numbers are there to justify it. The returns are huge. The marketing spend is enormous in prop tech. And there's really nothing there shy of like buying your furniture online, really. Yeah. But that doesn't really quite fit with this kind of industry. So the market is there for the grab, and we believe that we're even kind of late for that.
That's funny because a few months ago I had Rebecca, who is the founder of Lawn Design Club. So they're doing something completely different and also focusing on the fashion tech space. But she was basically saying the same thing, that it was very hard for retailers to just go online and not just having a website, but just to innovate was very hard for them. And so it was the same thing, like her business model is completely different, but it's quite interesting to see that they're not necessarily the baby steps for retailers. They don't really try to catch up directly to the online space and get in, but actually go through startups, and the startups are bringing the innovations to the retailers.
Right, yeah. So Sharon used to work in the industry, so she knows firsthand that it's very, very resistant to change in general. Not even talking about going online, so... Yeah.
And what about AR? When you mention AR to those retailers, what is the reaction?
Actually, so it's interesting. We get two types of reactions. When people see the app, is either they see the 3D visualization and they say wow, or they see the AR and they say wow. So it's either or. I like AR. I've been working with AR since way before ARkit, and I love the technology, but it's getting easier and easier to do AR. So at some point, it's like a little bit of a gimmick even to do AR. So I like it much more when they get impressed about what's really complicated in there, which is the room, the procedural room stuff. But AR is still not widely known, and people still get impressed. They see the chair digitally, and instead you see in the same place, and it's impressive. So
But I feel that, well, having worked also in AR and VR for quite a few years, it feels like ages, but it wasn't that long ago. And yeah, I get that feeling where people are excited sometimes for things that are not that big or sort of just simple for you, and you really like when they actually understand what is really cool and what makes it cool.
Yeah.
Because they get it, and if they get it, you're on the same page, so it's easier to be in the same.
Exactly. You don't talk to me. I'm the technology guy. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna be impressed by like the numbers, the data comes out. Like, wow.
Yes, no, I completely get that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about we play some video games now, and then we'll get back to more into the details, because I want to get back to the ARkit, but also to the retailers, how it works for them and everything.
Awesome, yeah.
So let's do that after some video games. So as I said, today we're going to play Tricky Towers. It's a Tetris-like game, really straightforward, quite easy, so I'm going to launch it quickly. Because you'll see, you don't need to be a pro gamer to get it.
Okay.
And also, it's not that easy to find games where you can play with two people. I was initially looking for that because the co-founder was supposed to be here, and I was like, okay, so let's try to find something interesting when we are the three of us, which is always tricky.
Cool.
I was actually looking for a game that was more related to decoration, but I don't know what happened in my mind. I thought finding a way to make things happen and to get things together. For me, it's a bit like interior design.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, this seems to fit.
Okay, game is here. I got a controller for you right here, and I
feel like I'm gonna suck so bad in this.
Oh, don't worry. I am so bad at this game, like truly.
Okay.
Okay, so. Yeah, it is up. Perfect. Yeah, I am so bad. I played a few times with my partner, and it's not my thing. I think I have a different type of logic. Lots of people think really in a specific logical way, and my logic might just be odd. So I always try things, and it never works really well.
Okay, well, let's see.
Okay, let's do a local battle. Okay, so you need to press A, and then you choose your character.
Alright, let's see. Oh yeah, this guy.
I think we automatically choose the same person. That's fine.
That's fine, yeah.
So let's go for random, easy, and for a big cup. So basically, the difference is that it's going to be a Tetris-like game, but the difference is that there are some kind of powers. So we are witches, I guess, and sometimes we can change a few things. So the for example, there are different modes, and there is the one that just delete the last piece.
Okay.
So it's not automatic, but basically you'll see at some point you have a small icon next to your character, and if you press X, it's going to do something.
All right.
Something sometimes good, sometimes bad. Something is bad for the other. You never know. But
Okay.
And the other difference is that there are kind of small challenges mode. So you'll see there is. Well, I'll let you know as soon as the new mode starts.
Yeah,
so
let's get into it.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Dixie. Well, I'm not going to pronounce your name, but no, we didn't program this game, so it's a game available on Steam. Very nice game. We're here today to talk about Decology, so that's a Jacobo startup. But right now we're playing some video games, and then we'll get back to the interview and get more into details about his startup. So if you're interested in augmented reality, interior design, building an app, or just entrepreneurship, stay around and you can ask us anything. But after we play video games. Or you can ask right now, but we'll be playing video games now. Okay, so this one basically, the idea is to stack as many pieces as possible before reaching the line. And that's the format that I'm the worst at. Everything always falls apart before the end, like right before the end. There is also something I haven't mentioned. There is a way to just aggressively move the piece at the last minute using the triggers on the controller. But it's really hard to manage, to be honest.
So if I get a line, I should be...
It's not about the line.
It's not about the line.
It's more about reaching the red line. So once you reach the red line, it's the end of this challenge. And you're supposed to have as many pieces as possible stacked together. And I already reached it, and I think I'm losing. As usual, yeah.
Really? I feel like I'm doing terrible.
No, I think you're winning.
Am I? That's funny.
Oh no, you won.
Wait, why did I win?
So you won because on this challenge, we were supposed to put as many pieces as possible until we reach the line.
Oh, okay.
And when I reached the line, I had 5, you had 6.
Oh, okay.
So you won.
Yeah, this is fun.
And this one for survival, we have 3 hurts, so 3 lives. And every time a piece falls on the side, we lose a heart. So we basically just need to go as far as possible without losing a heart.
Oh.
I think there is a way to actually gain some, but I can't remember how. It requires so much focus. It's
It really does.
generally I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. I played it and that's okay. But here, I know, so bad.
Yeah, everybody wants to say that they are good at multitasking, but
Yeah. When I started the stream, lots of people asked me why I don't just play video game for the entire time during the interview. And I clearly told them there is no way. It is so
There's
hard
no
already.
way.
Yeah. Like, especially when I ask questions, so that's okay. I prepare my question, I can ask them anytime. But for the guest, it would be really hard, especially when you're not a gamer. It's
yeah, especially if you're competitive. If you're competitive, forget it.
also, yeah. Are you
Okay.
competitive?
Actually, not so much, to be honest.
I think I am. Not long ago, I think it was last year, I was at a conference, and a team that I knew built a game, and there was a small competition basically, and the one who won the competition, so it was about having the highest score on the game, and the person winning the competition had a few goodies. Nothing that important, but it wasn't about the goodies, it was just about being in the top 3, and I stayed there at the end of the conference for at least an hour, just playing the game non-stop. What? No way!
Just because I was about to to go out. Oh man, yes, I guess I am a little bit competitive then.
Yes. Do you play games?
I play Zelda. I love Zelda. I love Zelda. I bought the Nintendo Switch just for Zelda.
Oh really? Have you played the last one?
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Okay, so this one is actually more the traditional game, so the idea is just to reach the end, like the top of the screen.
Okay.
And that's it.
Just reach the top.
Yes.
But if I put them on top of each other, then they're gonna fall, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So it has to be quite stable.
Okay.
But it's like a race. So what do you think about the Zelda, the last one?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah?
It's amazing. Yeah, I'm already done. Even my wife was into it, which is funny because she... Oh, did I lose?
No, you're fine.
Okay,
it's
so
about
it
reaching the
falls
top,
and...
yeah.
Okay.
So you can have pieces falling, that's okay.
Okay. So even my wife she didn't want to play it because she was scared of the characters. But then...
Oh really? Why that? Is this...
I don't know.
Okay.
But she would watch me play. She wasn't scared of the characters. She was scared of fighting with them. She gets stressed out.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, it can be when you're really into a game. It can be quite stressful. Just don't you mind if I just hit the pause button for a minute?
Oh yeah, no problem.
Can I? Oh yeah. I just need to ban someone. Man, that's nice, but it's not really the type of discussion we are having here. So, okay. how do you ban someone? I need someone to help me out, like to be on the screen when I'm playing or anything else. Okay. Ban. You ban. Bye. It's okay. It happens sometimes. Not that often. So that's good. But Twitch is a lot about video games and young people, and it's not really about business or anything.
Right.
So sometimes you have random people coming and being a bit
It's so part of the fun.
So I'm going to resume.
Hey, what's happening? I forgot what it was.
I wanted to play the last Zelda, but I don't have the Switch, and I didn't want to buy the Switch just for that.
Yeah.
I already have a Nintendo DS, and that is very good. I really like it. So I don't know. I didn't just want to buy a new console.
Literally just bought it for that, and there's one game that I like to play in PlayStation. I haven't played it for quite a while actually, which was Uncharted. Have you heard of Uncharted?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. I haven't played though, but I've played many of the Tomb Raider Lara Croft.
Ah yeah?
Yeah, I just finished actually one of the recent ones. You were almost winning.
I know. I don't know what's happening to me now.
Well, I think it's very close. I won, but it was extremely close. Very, very close. Like if I miss one piece, you would have won. You would have won.
Okay, so I started good and now it's.
It's okay. It's fine. Oh, so this mod is the same than the first one. So the idea is to stack as many pieces until we reach the red line.
Okay. Okay, so this is the one that I wanted.
Yes, you did.
So yeah, Uncharted. I like Uncharted because it has such an interesting story.
That's what I like also about the Tomb Raiders. The issue I had with the last one, I felt that I wasn't really playing much, and it frustrated me a bit. Because there weren't that much gameplay, so it was about sometime pushing a button here and there, but there were lots of cinematics. And many times I was wondering, am I actually playing or not? And many times I wasn't, so I felt a bit frustrated about that. Like, just let me play, let me think for hours about one puzzle and get stuck in it for a long time, which you have this feeling in the oldest one. And I don't know, I liked it. It was okay. It's just at the end, I was like, it was fine, but the beginning and the end, I wasn't into it that much. Yeah. But I wanted to finish it, so I can move to the next one after that.
So it's a tie, huh?
Yeah.
Can you remind me of this one again?
So that's one is the one where you have 3 lives. So the idea is not to lose your pieces in
right.
Like on this side.
Do I play? There's one game that I do play quite a bit. Civilization. You know that game?
Yeah, that's cool.
I actually love that game.
I think I don't have enough passions for that. I've been watching people playing online, and it's good enough. I don't think I could play myself because it's require lots of dedication and time.
Yeah, you need to learn. But I've been playing for quite a while, that one. I love it. It's really, really interesting.
So do you play on your own or do you play with someone?
Civilization? No, on my own. I think, I don't know how it works. I think you can play with people, but...
I think so, yeah. I have no idea how it works either.
It's probably really, really slow because each turn takes a lot of time.
Exactly, yeah.
So you game a lot? You play a lot?
Yeah, kind of. Not a lot, but I feel more than lots of people.
Okay. So what's your favorite game?
I don't really have a favorite one. I think. Oh, you won. That's cool.
Yay.
Recently, there was a game that I really loved. It was Alan Wake. That was really cool. It's not really mainstream. It's not really well known, but it's really fun. Basically, you are a guy and you you don't have much with you, so you find some stuff sometimes, some pistols and light. And there is an interesting gameplay with the light, but more importantly, the story is just crazy. It's just so I can't even tell the story because it will spoil everything. But you're a writer and you learn about yourself as much as you learn about the story. So you learn along the way with the character about his own story. So it's quite interesting, and sometimes it's like really messed up. Like, wait a minute, am I getting this right? And I feel that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have this feeling in a game for a very long time, so it was very cool.
Yeah, it sounds really interesting.
Yeah, I really love that.
Yeah, lately my game is just my work. What can I tell you?
It can be fun. I remember once I dived into Unity for an entire weekend to build a really short experience in VR. But I was really into it. I really wanted to make it happen and just to get the experience right. And especially when you have something in mind specific that you want to create, it's quite challenging because you don't find what you're looking for and you have to create it yourself. Well, you're technical, so it might be easier to just do it. But I remember it was like I was in a hackathon mode and it was quite exciting.
Especially when you have to do something really fast, you have a deadline. That's the best part.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm very lucky. I love my job, so.
Well, that's the best then.
Yeah.
I guess if you've been working on AR for so many years and then have the opportunity to join a startup that you love the founder, you love the idea, and you can play with AR. That's fun.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
So I think,
okay, so what happened?
I think we finished the cup and
obviously you won.
I'm not sure because I guess I won, but the thing is, it's my computer, so both controllers are under my name.
Oh.
So it wouldn't say anything else anyway.
It's a winner on that side, but I think that was only the last game, was it? Obviously you won.
I don't know.
Yeah, you won like
I think
3.
I won.
Yeah. That's
it
fine.
wasn't half, but yeah.
That's fine. I learned how to lose.
Good. So it was a trial, and let's have one for real now.
Oh, it's a trial. Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's do that. Just another quickly one, and then we can continue chatting.
Okay, now I got the flow.
Good.
I'm gonna win for sure.
I have no doubt about that. But then I can ask you hot questions, so you
sure, go for it. I think I spoke too soon.
I remember here's the easy mode, so it's not too hard. I tried different modes and it was crazy hard.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't stack anything like more than 2 pieces together. Oh, it's bad. It's looking so bad for me too. Oh, okay. You reached the line. I'm trying something.
Oh man!
Oh, it's working.
This is so good.
It's working. I think I'm not going to ask too much.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's for sure, right? Like, that's my style.
How did you even do that?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Okay, so I get it. So you put one to hold the other. That's
well, it wasn't by design. So
it wasn't by design.
No, it just happened, and I thought everything would fall apart.
Huh.
So this one is about reaching the top line.
Fast, okay.
Yes. The last stream, or maybe the one before, I had the founders of Beanborn, which is an interesting project, and we played a game that is about fighting together or each other. And at the beginning they were like, oh, we don't play much games, be nice with us. But then they were so into it and so competitive, they were like just crazy. And I was thinking, well, I would be nice and try to go easy on them. And then I was like, shit, I have to really
now I'm losing
develop my
on
game.
My own show. What's this? No.
And that was, yeah. Generally when it starts falling apart, it's really hard to just get back to it straight away. If you want to try, you can try pressing X also to get some special.
Oh, I forgot. Okay.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's really hard to know what it does, really. Sometimes it removes a piece, sometimes it does something to the other.
No.
You were so
Oh my
far
God.
away.
I got cocky.
I think that's what this game is about. Like, how much are you ready to risk?
Still one.
You did it.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh, what's this?
It's just something that say that you won.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, you don't need to really be careful about that. It's just going to go somewhere on your tower.
So why was that one 3 points?
The winner gets 3 points and the loser 2.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, I think it's because we're also 2. So maybe if we were 3, it would be the same. Like maybe there would be 1 point for one person. I don't know. I've always played with someone. Never played with 2 people on this game, so I don't really know. I initially had in mind an IKEA game where you have to build furnitures. And I was thinking, I'm going to test your furniture building abilities. But then when I look at the 2 players mode, didn't find this good enough.
So it's interesting. IKEA actually has an app that is very similar to ours. Obviously, the big problem with that is that it's only IKEA products.
Yeah.
So people don't get to choose, which we believe is obviously.
Can you also buy through the app, or is it just visualization?
Yeah,
really?
no, you go directly to the retailer's portal.
Okay.
Which by now is one of the main ways that we monetize.
Mm-hmm.
And then number 2 is basically. Well,
You won.
Yeah. Are you letting me win now?
No,
Okay.
I was listening to what you were saying,
So
and I
that's my
didn't
strategy.
notice. Yeah, and the thing is with this part, you have 3 lives, and if you lose several pieces at the same time, well, all your heart is
it'll
going
give
at
you.
the same time.
That's interesting.
So that's what happened.
Okay, this one I like. So yeah, what was I saying?
It's you're going through the retailer app.
Yeah. So basically, that's one of the main ways that we monetize. It's just basically going through their site through an affiliate marketing scheme. But then we also do pay-per placement, which basically means that if the consumers place a product, the retailers know that the consumers are evaluating their products in the context of their own room, and that they know that they fit, and so on and so forth. So they basically give us a small advertising fee for that.
Okay, which is already like everything is on paper at the beginning, like.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
like,
It's
not like what I meant is that it's not like when you have a per click or something. It's more about.
it is a
No,
similar.
it is actually, yeah.
Yeah, it's very similar to pay-per-click, just because they obviously don't know how many people are gonna opt into their products. That's the whole point. Obviously, it's connected to how many people will ultimately want to buy from them. Is how much they want to pay. I mean, they're paying only for consideration of their products in their actual room.
Which is a very interesting analytics, because I feel that if retailers are not that present online and don't really have a really strong website, it's really hard for them to get this kind of info, right?
Yeah.
And you don't really know if your product is resold in a store or something that is not online, or even through different platforms. You don't necessarily have access to those numbers. You just see how much you sold through this specific platform. You won again! Wow.
Yeah, exactly. So it would have been funny if you saw the presentation once we the demo day on pileups.
Yeah.
Sharon started by saying how much of an issue it was for her to design her own room.
Okay.
Because of the fact that she had to go through all kinds of different retailers and all different things. So it's not really that retailers like Made or John Lewis don't have the capability of doing something like this. It's just that it's not worth it, because the main problem is that you're still gonna want to go through retailers, across retailers,
Sure.
and see what works best. So if the product is not omni-channel, it really defeats the whole purpose.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have so many questions, but I know I want to just finish this.
I think I got
game.
the hang of it. If you.
You are, yes. And that's the last game, so that's perfect.
Awesome. So.
You know, I don't want
this
to
one as many pieces as
too
possible.
much.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Oh, and I'm already in bad shapes.
How are you? Okay. So interesting.
My approach, you mean? Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Is that on purpose or?
I think it is this time.
Huh, okay, that one.
Yeah, I think you're going to kill this game.
What happens if it falls?
Nothing.
Oh yeah, I'm done.
Perfect. So we're going to see, but yeah, I think
Look at that thing.
I think you're definitely winning everything. That's so
I think
cool.
that was a tie, wasn't it? Look.
I don't know because it's every time we all won some stuff. So you got 9 points and I got 4.
I won. Okay, that's a good.
It can be a bit confusing because every time we even if I am second, which is a loser because we're 2, I still got points for being second. So it's a bit odd, I know.
Yeah.
Okay, well I think
awesome.
it was quite nice, but as we already started diving more into what you do already, I think it's time to get full into that.
Yeah.
I'm just going to switch right here and also to just remove the game because we don't hear the sound, but everyone could hear the sound of the game right now. So I'm just going to remove it just to make sure it's not interfering. Okay. And get back to it. Perfect. Great.
Okay, awesome.
So we already started talking a bit about the retailers, and I have a question for this aspect of your business, the retailer side. So how does this work for them also with the 3D model? So you mentioned that that's the main part of the revenue model, that's the retailers, because it's going to be free for users. So on the retailer end, how constraining it is and how much do they need to already have in terms of 3D models ready?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a lot of them already have them because it's part of their day-to-day, and actually these things are very, very useful in the industry. But even if they don't, we have a process with people in India that can do it really, really fast. So we can design it for them, and it usually takes a couple of days.
Okay, so does this mean that those people will need to have access to the furniture, or can they just do it entirely 3D
just,
without?
Yeah, it's a matter of a couple of pictures and the measurements, and that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really not that complicated to create them.
I think that's funny because you said that many of the retailers already have the 3D models, and when talking with lots of people in the AR space, I think lots of people just forget about that. That yeah, they already do have the assets, and that makes a big difference. That means that it makes the technology more approachable. Yeah,
absolutely. There's one little barrier right now, which is around understanding how to adapt them to augmented reality. So, for example, with the ARkit, you have USDZ models that you need to adapt into, which, by the way, it's amazing. Once you get it into USDZ, the texture of the models look amazing. So
okay, that's great to know.
Yeah.
Talking about ARkit, I wanted to know more about the fact that you're using ARkit. So it has been made by Apple, in case some people don't know that, which I think most people don't know that. So that means that you're first launching on Apple phones.
Yes.
But how hard it is to then develop the same technology or open up to Android users looking that it's already developed on the top of an Apple product, and then how constraining it is to work with such Apple product?
That's an interesting question, because again it comes back to the fact that the AR bit is actually not the most complicated part of the whole system.
Okay.
And in fact, the same way that you have ARkit, you have Core AR, which is Google's version of Android's version of ARkit, and you could do pretty much the same, probably with different models. So we probably would have to adapt the models a little bit, and then
So that means that the day you want to switch or to open up your base of users to Android users, you still have lots of work to do, but it's not like
mainly on AR.
Product.
Yeah,
okay.
It's not mainly on AR.
Okay.
I would say even that we probably have been working on AR for quite a while. We were able to develop that really fast, and right now we're working on the interface. I'm very, very, very keen on having great design. For me, it's crucial. I think right now a startup that doesn't have great UI UX, it's really not bound to be very successful. So we've been working on that. We're actually doing a whole redesign from what we achieved after the pileups program, and that's actually a lot of work.
I can imagine that. Yeah. So you've been through the pileups, which is a program, which is an accelerator program, and when you said that you've been redesigning the app, so what has been your approach? Do you think that it's a program itself, that being part of the program helped you understand that there was something to do with the design of the application itself, or was it something else? Because I feel that it's really hard to come to what you're doing with a fresh eye and be able to say, well, that's actually not great for my users. Right. It's really hard because it's what you're doing and what you're working on every day. So was it a program that helped you understand that, or was it something else?
Well, that's such a great question, actually. Well, first of all, pileups was great for many, many different things. In this case, though, when it comes down to design, just the fact that pileups was such an intensive program for 3 months, that meant that we have a couple weeks to do the design. And then once we had it, we just ran with it. And we developed basically the app. The whole app was developed in 3 months. And once we were done and we launched it on demo day, we, for the first time, started putting it into the hands of consumers, which, lean startup started doing it before. That's obviously the whole point. But we did it after the program because we were basically running to have the product by the end of of demo day. We got it into people's hands. We found out that it was terrible in terms of UX.
That's okay. That's always happens.
Yeah, of course. But not mainly terrible. The technology was there. The technology is really cool. But we were trying to put in so many things into it that it just made it so complicated. So we had like a little blog, and we had like these different looks that were sort of like put in this particular way that was very confusing for users and so on and so forth. So we said, okay, let's redesign this thing. So we came back to the drawing board. We have a great designer that just did an intensive week with us. We redesigned. We loved the new thing. And then we said, okay, yeah, this is it. And we're sort of testing and designing as well at the same time right now. So that works much better. And right now we're going to be able to launch with a beta, a closed beta, which is going to be great. A lot of people are going to give us a lot of feedback. So that's the whole point.
So the launch of the beta is coming quite fast in the coming weeks. What was your approach to launch this way rather than doing a big product launch? And also, my question behind that is also, do you feel that thinking about the entire user experience made you maybe rethink about doing a big product launch, or just taking your time to really iterate on the user feedback? So
I'm a big fan of avoiding this endless hole of making it perfect and just iterating eternally until it's what you think it can be, because it's never going to be that, right? But that being said, it's never a good idea to launch without a beta group or intensive testing before. So there's just two separate things. It's not about making it perfect, really, launching with a beta. It's just about testing before we actually launch. It's not about not having a big launch. We are going to have our launch and it's going to be great, but we need to first have our little group and test it thoroughly.
So beta, and then when do you plan the big launch to be? When do you plan the application to be accessible to everyone?
So I want to do it as fast as possible. This is a conversation that I've been having with the with the team, basically, so I'm aiming for a month after September 12th, which is when we open our closed beta group.
Okay. No, I meant for the next step when it will be.
So a month after.
Oh, a month after.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
No, that's great. That's short. That gives you not that much time to.
I want to
integrate the feedback.
That's right. So we're actually we did this last time as well. We're putting in a sort of like an A squad team there, okay. With very thorough QA, with a lot more people, hands and eyes into the project, so that we can move really fast. Because the idea is, we want to be able to get the feedback applied as fast as possible, work day and night, and be able to have it within a month.
Okay, that's great. It will be intense, so good luck for that.
It always is.
That's right, yes. But once it's in the hand of someone else, it's like you can't do much more until you get this feedback, and then
and it's because it's not even about the actual time that you need to spend working those things. It's about the emotional toll of that feedback. It's really harsh because obviously we get it into the hands of people, and they say, okay, I really don't get this thing. I would never use this thing, or
it's harsh.
Yeah, it's harsh, and you have to be very, very cold and separate. Like, okay, so this one's not my audience. That one's giving me pretty good feedback, and I need to sort of digest it and see how I can make it into a reality. And that one, whatever, I don't know. So it's always intense.
Can you imagine that? You also mentioned the rest of the team. So what's the composition of the team right now?
So we're 6 people.
6 people.
So there's Sharon, there's me, there's Claire, which is our marketing superstar. There's Anna, which is our iOS developer superstar.
Okay.
There's Andrew, which is the Unity superstar. He's amazing. And there's Mike, which is the 3D designer.
Okay. So more of creators and not that many people with the interior design. So your co-founder bring the interior design and industry expertise, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's very nice. And so you had funding through the accelerator program. On the phone, you also mentioned that you were looking to raise some angel investment too. So what's the next step in terms of the company growth for you in the coming months?
So ideally, we want to go through the investment route. This is a project that definitely has the capability of getting its own traction and its own little funding. It doesn't have to wait for funding as the only mean of growth. We can also generate some revenue because of the model that we're working in. But it would essentially be too slow. So we're definitely going through the funding route, and we're doing 2 main things. Generally, one is a very small round right at the end of development with a small group of angels, a lot of them already committed to the idea and that they want to join us on this. And then we want to go through the VC route, which is a little bit more ambitious, a little bit more money, and hopefully get much more fuel to just throw this thing into the...
Give a big boost.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. You also mentioned on the phone that before going to the VCs, you want to have more data from users and also, I guess, from retailers too. So that's very interesting. I feel that it's definitely the best way to go, having a bit more consistent and being able just not to talk about your idea, but also what you've been up to and have real figures to support your different steps and research.
Yeah. So I meet with a lot of entrepreneurs with different ideas, and they ask me about their idea. Obviously, they come in and they say, okay, so I have this idea for this thing, the Uber for whatever. And I almost always tell them that the idea is almost worthless. It's almost really not important. I would say even 5% of the whole mix. The entrepreneur is huge. The traction that they can get is huge. The audience engagement is huge. The idea itself, I wouldn't waste much time thinking to myself, do I have a good idea? I would spend time putting it in the hands of people and saying, hey, is people really using it? Are people really using this? Do they really want it? And so, that's essentially the whole the whole core of the work. So I lost my train of thought a little bit there.
No, I get that. That's actually interesting, because that's something I hear a lot, and I completely agree. And as you mentioned before, when you've met with Shannon.
Sharon.
Okay, yeah. I get it wrong. Sorry for that.
She's busy with her kid right now, so she's not.
Okay, good. Well, if you listen to that, I'm sorry I got your name wrong. You mentioned before that when you've met with Sharon, you really wanted to join her adventure, even though it was different at the beginning.
Exactly.
And by the way, I will ask you how it looked like before.
Yeah, sure.
But I feel that it's the same thing when you feel that someone is on the right track. As I said before, yes, the idea is going to maybe change a bit. The people that are going to join also the project at an early stage will bring a lot to the project. So that's something that I see a lot, to have it's all about the founders and what they're going to make with that.
Yeah.
You have also a lot of people having the same ideas at the same time. Yeah. It happens a lot. It's okay. And what they're going to do with this idea is going to bring their project to completely different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. So most times they don't even know where it's going to take them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just want to take a minute to say hi to Eddie. Good to see you here today.
Eddie.
Hope you're doing great. Eddie is coming to most of the streams actually. He's really cool. So Eddie, just so you know, we're talking about Decology. So Jacobo is the CTO of Decology, and we talked about AR also. So if you have questions on the AR aspect, because I know that's something you're interested in, you can ask him anything. Eddie actually won a hackathon I organized on VR.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a while ago. It was quite very fun.
Yeah, so I have some questions.
Okay, so let me check my question. I still have a lot to cover.
Of course.
I also was chatting yesterday with someone about apps on Facebook, and how the market for apps is quite crowded. You have lots of apps available, and today, unless you know exactly what you're looking for, you generally don't browse for many type of apps. So do you have any specific plan to stand out from the crowd on this end and to reach out to your audience? Once I know it's not your steps right now, but well, I was asked to ask you that, so I guess it's the right timing for that. If you have any tips or any plan on how to stand out from the crowd to push your app.
Absolutely. So apps are not a market, or are not a market anymore. At least they're really a channel. So it's the same way as saying there's so many products in Walmart. How do you stand out? Yeah, well, so it's not about standing out within Walmart. It's standing out as a product. Ultimately, if we create something and we believe that it's really useful and that it's really unique and that can really solve a problem, then that itself would be a way to stand out. Now, in terms of marketing, basically the approach that we're taking into that is we want to get 100 users that absolutely love us, and we can create a community with them, and that they interact with us and that they help us make the product itself better. We're focusing on not doing heavy promotion necessarily, or going all over Facebook or Instagram or whatever. We're trying to have that connection with real users that are a real community and that help us focus on the product and create that sort of purple cow that really stands out.
That definitely makes sense, and I like how you said that it used to be a market and now it's not anymore. That's very interesting. When do you see this shift happened?
So you cannot make an app right now for the sake of making an app, because that wouldn't make sense. It's not novel anymore. It's not. I'm not making an app because that's different and that's unique. I'm making an app because of the content of the app itself. Yeah. So at that point, it's already not a market. The market is whatever you are promoting through the channel of being an app. Or if it was practical for me to just take that big furniture and just put it into my customer's place and say, hey, do you like it? Yes, no, okay, I'll take it back. Obviously that's not it's not a smart way of doing it, but if it was, then that would be my product. So whatever the whatever the way it is that we solve the problem, that is the product ultimately. The app itself is just secondary, it's collateral, it's just the way that we found to be able to solve that problem.
That's very true. What about your own journey? You have been working with app and with AR for many years. So what did you do before? You mentioned that you moved to London recently, but even before that, what's your journey to entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I really like my own sort of upbringing with technology, because it's a really interesting story, and it talks a lot about my projects on the larger scheme. I had a job initially in marketing actually, but then after marketing I started working on a company called Protein, which is a family company. They used to do coverings, and I used to be the natural stone manager for all the countries in that company. So it doesn't get much farther away from technology, right? And that's because I went to business school. I had no idea of how to code or anything like that. But I was very, very depressed in general in my life, just because I wasn't, accomplishing. If I saw myself being the best at what I was doing, I wasn't happy. So if I see myself in 10 years and I've achieved everything that I want to achieve within this industry, this is not the life that I want to live. So what I started doing, and this is very public to say, but don't try this at home, is I started on the commute to the office watching programming videos and teaching myself programming, basically. So I had to drive like an hour and a half to get to the office. And I started doing this, and I realized that when I got home and I was tired after 11 hours of work, and it's that feeling of you really can't do much, and you're really down. But one thing I could do was program, and I said, okay, obviously there's something here. Funny enough, I had to leave the place where I was, and I had to go back to Venezuela at the time. Okay. And because of that, I found myself with a lot of free time. I still was working for the company, but I had to do much less. So I just went all in with programming. And, then one thing led to the other. I opened my own agency, basically. In programming, I started working with brands because I came from marketing. Started doing those augmented reality projects with Duracell and Fossil that I talked to you about. And then, when I moved to London, I said, I'm still with brands, it doesn't quite cut it. I really want to do more passionate work, and that was the work that I do with startups, which is amazing, and it's someone's baby, right? A startup. And that's when I met Sharon, and this whole thing happened.
That's amazing. I love this story. I was looking at your social media and stalking as usual, because I need to get to know you to ask the right question. And I was well, I'm surprised because I haven't seen that there. Maybe I didn't dig further enough. I don't know, but that's fascinating. And that's funny because I meet more and more people who are entrepreneurs building their own startup, who actually started in a very completely different way, and one day decided to start coding and to learn more on the technical aspect, to be able to just build something.
Yeah, it's 40-something% of the coding workforce actually.
It's huge. That's such a big work. So what did you started with that? Did you started with some usual courses, the foundation? Have you instead in mind something specific you wanted to build, to experiment and to learn the skills, or what was the path for learning?
So there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. A lot of people do sort of this online websites where you actually code on the side and it teaches you. I never found those engaging at all.
Okay.
I used lynda.com. And there's this,
which is related to LinkedIn, right?
Yeah, it was bought by LinkedIn. So right now it's LinkedIn Learning. And they have in there this fantastic class called Programming Fundamentals with Simon Allardyce, which I absolutely recommend. That guy is an amazing teacher. And just that class, it was so engaging and so much fun that I feel that class was really transforming.
Okay.
And
great.
so I took that one, and then I started. I decided whether I wanted to go web or mobile, and I made the right choice, fortunately, because I didn't know what I was doing. So fortunately, I don't know.
No one never do.
No one never does. It's funny. But I chose mobile, which was very fortunate because Swift was a very easy language to learn and to get acquainted with. Apple in general is a very easy platform to get started with.
Yeah.
So you can create something, even if it's not great, it's gonna be something. So it's gonna give you that feedback, and so that was cool. So I decided I wanted to do a project. I'm Jewish, and I used to be a lot more observant. And there's this one prayer that Jewish people do on certain days, and certain days they don't. And there's not really a logic where you can calculate it, but it's certain days based on the Jewish calendar. So my first app was literally just an app that told you whether or not that day you would do this thing. And it was really hard, actually.
It is. I tried once to make an app, and I stick to the website.
Yeah. But I did it, and the feeling once I did my first app was like, are you kidding me? Like, this is like, I want to do stuff. So I started taking projects. There was this one guy that wanted to do like a Bitcoin mining calculator, and he said, let's do it. And I said, okay, fine. So we'll go 50-50, whatever it is, whatever comes out of that, then we'll share it. And I believe we made like $3. And I haven't paid him the $150 actually. Yeah. I really need to do that. Yeah. But it was fun, and it's an app, and it exists, right?
Yes.
And once I was able to make it, I was really it was a game changer. I see a lot of questions, so I don't want to.
Well, I just want to say hi to a few people here. So Slide Rails, Red Smart Stack, and a few others who join us. So I saw someone asking about if you were live and if also we were taking questions. Yes, please do ask us questions, and we'll be happy to answer. Once again, Jacobo is the co-founder of Decology, a startup based in London. I also put the link to the website in the chat. I don't know if you can see it anymore, but check it out. And if you have questions, just ask, and we'll try to answer. But we won't answer about detergents for t-shirts. Apparently someone really likes your t-shirts.
Oh, thank you.
Because it's really dark, like the quality. So
thank you.
We're not going to deep dive too much about that. Let's just stick to startups question, maybe tech. That would be already good, I think. I wanted to actually jump on what you said, and I just got lost now.
So about this
yes.
apps,
So the thing is, coming also from a non-technical background and having tried myself to create a few things, I feel that it's an amazing feeling that non-technical people can get sometimes when you haven't had the formation there as a training to build anything, and you have been told all your life that you're not going to build anything, you're going to help sell something and support in some ways. And when you actually build something on your own, you're just like so proud, whatever it is, whatever the motivation behind it, you're like, I made something.
Yeah.
I created from nothing. I created a little thing that I can share. I can show to people.
Yeah.
I had this feeling with my website. I spent lots of hours on it, and when it was done, I was like, I did it entirely. So it's great.
And it's amazing. So I told, before we got married, I told my wife, eventually when we have kids, our kids are not going to go to college. That obviously lacks a lot of context, but what I meant is certain careers, like the one that I went through, like business school, where it focuses on soft skills. Once I discovered that I could create something, and I did it within 6 months, really, and I was able to create something that I can sell, and I can sell it for £5. That's fine. If you create a chair, if you make a chair, you know how to make a chair. That chair can be worth £1,000 or it can be worth £5. That's fine, but it's something you made. It's something that exists, that you can sell. And I feel that right now education is it's so democratized. It's so available that a lot of people really don't have to go to college to be able to be competent and to be valuable in society as or in professional society. And so this whole debate, for example, I don't want to get too political, but this whole debate about making college free and this and that, I don't even I'm convinced that college is that important also. So like a lot of people can find their way without it. So it's yeah.
I get that. I've been also through through some schools, and I feel I left earlier than I planned, way much earlier than I planned, because I started having some glimpse about the startup scene and what you could actually learn by doing, compared to what you would get seated in a classroom. And I felt also there were a big gap between the two of them. But I also understand that for some people it is crucial to have some help or some profession that you really need to have.
Architects, doctors, there's absolutely, obviously not.
But I agree that today with online courses you can learn amazing skills on your own. And it's hard because you have to take the time for that. You have to have the motivation, and there are so many people just dropping all the programs online. But in the same time, if you really want to make it happen, you can find always a way to learn. And even just meeting people and asking them for advice, going to hackathon, or anything. Yeah,
absolutely.
I see lots of questions. Thank you, Red Smart Track.
Let's get political.
Okay, I'm not sure what you're talking about. You put so many messages here.
There's a couple of people there, I think. It's just
so
the
it
same.
Says, yeah. So Red Sam Stark, I'm so bad with names. Sam Stark said that he knows a kid that's in college for coding, and he asked how can I get him to be successful. He's currently doing a lot. Oh no, okay.
Experimenting with different things, yeah.
Yeah, but the real question I think is how do I make him make a killer app to get rich? Well,
okay. I mean, there is a question on on top of all of that.
Yes, there is actually a question on top of that.
There's a question on top of that. I wouldn't be able to say that there's one path that works for everybody, and it's not a diss on college even. I mean. Some people need that structure to be able to learn everything that needs to be learned. And in fact, I mean, I know that I'm lacking so much of the formal structure because I didn't have the experience to go through college on a more formal computer science career. So it's nothing about one or the other or one being better than the other. Not at all. It's more about opportunities being there to create things by yourself. If either something else that you already did wasn't there, or the momentum isn't there, or you want to start exploring new things, those things are available, and that's the whole point, basically.
And eventually, you are the CTO of Decology, so I feel that yes, you need to understand the technical aspect, but in the same time, part of your role is also to make the right decision and hire the right people around you to make it happen. So it's not just about you coding everything, and I think the part of the mindset of being in a startup and building a startup is actually more about the mindset itself and being flexible and having the right people more than really being the best at what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny that you mentioned that because just because I wasn't through that formal system, and because I come from another world, which is marketing, it actually fits quite well to my job as a CTO because I have to face investors, I have to put myself in the place of a user, I have to do these different things that are not necessarily so related to actually just coding, and that are actually quite valuable in the industry because, clients are from Venus, developers are from Mars. It's really hard to communicate with developers in general. That's a big generality, but just the fact that I can really see myself one-to-one with my co-founder and with investors and with users, it's really valuable. So coming from a different path in life, it's actually valuable.
Is there
ultimately.
anything specific you felt that you had to learn to step up as a CTO of the company, or is it just about just doing it and we'll see what I can learn along the
No,
way?
lots of things, and I'm still learning. So, no, absolutely. I mean, I don't know if there's a specific path. I'm definitely lacking quite a bit of skills that I want to be able to get better at in the future. But of course, you need to have a general idea of how to hire competent people, how to manage their work, how to review their code. And all these things that obviously are very technical and very specific skills that you need to have to be able to do something at that level where, I'm starting a startup that is a formal thing that's going to be launched and it's going to be available to people. Yeah, absolutely.
And about your entrepreneurial journey with Decology, what do you feel that has been the biggest challenge you've been facing? Not just you, but also as a team right now so far, because you haven't launched yet. You're going to launch the beta next month, and you're going step by step. But I feel that you already been through a few things, and so what has been the most challenging things that happened for that?
With startups in general, it's just the fact that there isn't a structure by definition because we're just getting started. And we're trying to build that as we go. So we're building a product, and at the same time we're building relationships with retailers, with users, with investors, and at the same time we're building our own relationships as a team, and sort of getting that culture fit from the beginning. It's also sometimes a challenge. How do we schedule these meetings so that we can know what each other is doing, and so on and so forth. I wouldn't say there's one challenge, there's millions of them. It's really, it's really, really hard. Startups are not for people that want to get rich overnight. Startups are for people that love this whole process, because getting rich overnight, it's overblown. It's not,
You get rich overnight after working really hard for 15 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There you go. That's a good one. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
No, I feel that that's an interesting point. It's definitely a marathon, and it's not. You hear stories on the news and everything, but people forget that behind. Most of the time, it's really hard work. For sure, there are some people that manage to get through lots of, get lots of money or lots of visibility, get viral in a day. But generally, it's not how things work, and people forget about that. Yeah. But I think it wouldn't be that fun if it was just about one day being viral and that's it. Yeah. I mean, being an entrepreneur is about doing it every day and not about luck.
No, and even if you get viral, that's just half of the story, because then you have to deliver. That's
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me think. I see lots of noise on the chat. Please. If we could just focus on talking about entrepreneurship, startups, happy to answer questions, but comment on the couch or things like that. Not necessary, but thanks anyway for joining. Okay, so is there anything that really helped you? I don't know if it's London or just generally. Being an entrepreneur, any resources, anything that you find really useful, maybe going through an accelerator program, you find it interesting, or else maybe being involved in the community, something that you find that was really helpful for you to
become an entrepreneur.
Well, not just to become, but also just in your journey that you find very interesting and you would recommend anyone to check out.
Yeah, so Google Campus that we're both part of is amazing. A lot of people that are going through the same journey, that's absolutely great. The one thing that comes to mind when you ask that question is 100% family, and I'm very lucky. Yeah,
I'm surprised.
You're surprised, really?
Yeah, that's definitely not the answer that I would expect. Okay.
So, I'm very lucky in the sense that I come from a family where pretty much everybody is an entrepreneur. And I learn a lot from them. It's one thing to be surrounded by entrepreneurs, sort of like at the same level as you are and going through the same struggles as you are, because you can do a lot of back and forth and sort of solve more of the day-to-day problems. But having people in my family to look up to that have already accomplished significant things and that are there ready to mentor me and to help me with my things and just to be there when one needs them, it's actually really, really quite powerful. If you can be surrounded by such people that have already accomplished such things and they can be helpful and useful to you, that's I think that's the main thing. That's definitely what comes to mind.
Okay, and I would say if you don't have such model in your family, you can always find people in the community ready to share their story or to mentor you. It's not necessarily about getting into a mentorship program, but more just being aligned in terms of values with some people and just having this kind of feedback or just relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do believe that it's very important in business. Just like in terms of evolution, we need to show that we're strong to be able to be successful. There is something to that, but we all get so caught up with that it's sometimes very hard to just step back and say, I don't know quite a bit of things and I need help from people. And I feel that that's been my approach all my life. Like I've been very humble about where I stand, and I've tried to get as much help from people as I can. And if I see somebody that has something to give me, I'm not shy in telling them, hey, you're clearly much more experienced than me on this thing. I don't know what I'm doing on this area. Can you please help me? So that will help you get people that will be useful for you.
That's an amazing tip for sure. So I have a real question this time. Where can I download your Android app? So I'll let you answer to that.
So unfortunately, we're not going to be in Android anytime soon. We're dealing with very, very demanding technology that we want to ensure runs smoothly, and that happens in iOS for now.
Great. And we also mentioned that you're launching a beta version for a small amount of people next month. So I guess if people want to get more information, they can check your website and social media.
And there's a link on the website, and you can opt into the closed beta group, and you can have the app and use it.
Great. So we are reaching the end of the interview. So if you have more questions, where can people find you? Maybe offline, online, any upcoming event or something?
Yeah, I happen to have a very unique name. First of all, this is in Spanish, and second of all, has a German last name. So if you search for that name, you'll find all my stuff. I don't think there's too many people with my name. So I'm sure it's gonna be on the.
Oh yes, it's going to be in the description of the video and everywhere on social media.
Awesome. So I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram. Find me on Facebook. My first name at Decology.com if you want to email me. And
Great. Well, on my end, I'm more of a Twitter person, but that's the same. Like my first name and my last name, if you get them right, you can only find me. No doubt, no one around. Yeah, exactly. You just need to get at least the first name, I think. I don't know, last name, maybe if you make a typo, that's okay, but I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm especially on Twitter, so if anyone wants to DM me either on my personal Twitter or on Entrepreneurs Playing Games, feel free to do so. I'm always trying to bring new guests, try to get lots of different people on board, and also try to improve many things. If you come regularly to the stream, you notice that I always change a few things. So the setup recently changed. I also added a different logo and everything. So any feedback, any suggestions, I'm always all ears. So that's it for today. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. And I'll be on the chat for a few minutes after the stream. So if you have more questions, I see a few things here, I'll be happy to discuss. Enjoy the day. Today in London it's quite nice, so be sure to get out and get some sun. And I should be back in 2 weeks with a new guest. In the meantime, I hope you're going to have a great week ahead and a great September if you're back from holiday or something. So thank you again, and I'll see you soon. Bye!